Harper Audio presents Nobody's Son by Cathy Glass, read by Denica Fairman. Prologue. We immediately fell silent as the noise sounded again. The children stared at me anxiously before our eyes went towards the curtains drawn across the patio doors. It was cold and dark outside, but something was out there, scratching and trying to get in. Not our cat. She was asleep by the warm radiator, and it didn't sound like a cat anyway. I stood and gingerly crossed the room, my heart pounding and my senses on full alert. There were just the children and me in the house, and I tried to hide my fear from them as I eased one curtain aside and peered into the dark. Nothing. Whatever it was had vanished again, like a phantom into the night. Chapter 1. A New Year, a New Child. I'd taken 6 months off from fostering after my husband had left me. There, I said it. My husband left me. It had been a difficult time, adjusting, supporting my children and reassuring them that it wasn't their fault and their father still loved them. But the fact that I was now able to say out loud that my husband had left me meant I was coming to terms with it and moving on, just as my counsellor had said I would. I only saw her 4 times, and she was also the vicar of our local church. Not that we'd been regular church-goers, Christmas, Easter, Mothering Sunday, and the occasional family service, but I knew she was approachable, down to earth, and offered counselling. She wouldn't ask me to pray for my husband's salvation or even forgive him, which I couldn't do yet. Get over his cheating and lies and the rejection, yes, but not forgive him, not for making my children fatherless. She'd listened sympathetically, but more importantly she'd told me it was time to acknowledge that my marriage was at an end, that I'd done my best to salvage it, and that I should now move on with my life. In the 6 months I'd been away from fostering, many changes had taken place, developments in procedure and practice that remain part of fostering today. I now had a link worker, Jill, also known as a support or supervising social worker, whose role, as her title suggested, was to support and monitor my fostering, to make sure it was to a good standard, to check my log notes were up to date and that my training needs were met. Ongoing training and report writing were now part of fostering for carers, and I had to keep a daily record of the child I was looking after, which included appointments the child had, their health and well-being, education, significant events, and any disclosures the child made about their past. There were also regular reviews for the child and an annual review for the foster carer, and fostering was provided through agencies. I worked for Home Finders, an independent fostering agency with charity status. But of course, the heart, the essence of fostering, remained the same. The foster family looked after a child or children, short or long-term, who, for any number of reasons, couldn't be looked after by their own parents, and their stories and past experiences were still heart-rending and varied. One change I didn't like was that the children now had to call me their foster carer rather than their foster mum, as it was felt it might be confusing for them. It seemed a bit cold to me, but I had to abide by this, as I did all the other fostering practices and regulations. When I asked my son Adrian, then aged 7, if he thought we were ready to start fostering again, he replied with a resounding "Yes," then added, "It's time we got back to normal." An old head on young shoulders. I didn't point out that we'd never get completely back to normal because his father wouldn't be there, but I knew what he meant. It was time to pick up the threads of our old life. My 3-year-old daughter Paula was at an age when she agreed with her older brother, so she was happy to resume fostering too. They'd both grown up with fostering, so having another brother or sister living with them was the norm.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?